Okay guys, let's swing over. Okay, first off is this Suzuki Address, they call it, Suzuki Address 110. Now, it's not a bad little scooter, or, you know, it sort of appealed to me in one way because I was checking up their prices going back, maybe a month back, and I was wondering what they were worth because I was just curious what they'd be like to ride, and they were $37.90. Now, all of a sudden with Suzuki, and a lot of the manufacturers, but mainly this one I found out on Suzuki, they decided that because these bikes don't meet ADR rules in Australia anymore, that these bikes are going out and they won't be replaced because this one's only got disc brake up front, drum at the rear. So in Australia now, as of November, they've got to be dual channel ABS or they're not welcome in here. So I was checking on the site and they were selling these for brand new, like $32.90. So that was a good saving. So it's only done, you know, like maybe a check, 1 kilometre, 1.5. So I thought to myself, I'd be curious to see how one of these go, and at $32.90, I'll just buy one and see what they're like, and you know, just go for a run around. I've been on scooters before, and I can do a comparison in my mind, because I wasn't planning on doing a test or anything like this, but I was thinking for $32.90, this is a pretty good looking little scooter, and if it goes all right, how could you miss on this one? So there's nothing fancy with it, but it is fuel injected, 110cc. Naturally it's got the electric, and it's also got kickstart. So I haven't even got a Kickstarter now on the Enfield, so at least you got one here. And it's available in 2 colours, this white and a blue. So I thought to myself, you know, oh yeah, and it also runs 14-inch wheels for a scooter, which it should be a little bit more comfortable than the smaller versions, which only run about 12. So that was one of them. And then while I was at it, I thought I'd buy one of these Honda Adventure ADV 150s. Once again, they're only run the disc at the front and the drum at the back. But this is sort of more, I don't know, looks more adventurous off-road. I've only ridden it once so far. Took it out to give it a bit of a ride around. It's a fairly good looking bike. It's got the adjustable windscreen. Really smart looking dash on it. Fair bit of under-seat storage. And, you know, like, I think it's a really spacey looking bike when you take a look at it for a scooter. But I had no intention of going back to scooters after my last couple of efforts, but I think I found them more fun than what I actually said. And also on this Honda, it's got shallow suspension front and rear, so it's got a bit there. So apart from that, you know, I thought once they're sold too, they won't be available. They're a bit dearer, they're $6,500, $750 right away, and they're 150cc. But not too concerned about the Honda side, but if you look at this side here, I think the bargain's in this Suzuki for $32.90 in Australia right away. So that's why I grabbed one of those, because I've looked at second-hand prices. Some of the guys selling them second-hand for 2 years old still want $2,500 or $3,000 because probably they paid $38. So the idea for me was get one of these brand new, because I don't like buying second-hand, and you know, go from there. And that $32.90 was a 12 months rego on it, and $6,500 for that Adventure 150. That was also 12 months rego too. Either one of them are really well finished for what they are, you know, like. But I am especially impressed by this Suzuki for the money, because if you can get out and run along, and it'll run along at, I don't know, say 60 or 80 kilometres an hour, I'd be pretty happy with that, because I only bought it as a toy. This one here is virtually, this is a Suzuki, you just get a straight out key start. I'm pretty happy with the key start, because when you get onto the Honda here, you've got one of those fobs where you've got to press this, press that. I think they're a bit of a pain at times. The only thing about this ADV 150 compared to the Forza 350 one I had, at least you got handlebars here. So, you know, that's one thing. But like I said, I don't plan on doing any reviews on these. They're just something filling me time, and I just thought I'd get them while the opportunity was there. But we'll get on that back onto the Enfield here now, and we'll take it out and give it a ride through town, and then we'll head out along the road, see how that performs there, and see if I think it's any better without the pannier box off. Okay guys, I've just showed you the new addition to the scooter range. They'll be right to play around with for a while. So We'll start this now. Notice how this bike starts first time every time. Not always the case with Enfields, but this is one of them, and it's a really good starter. Never had any trouble with it starting at all. So I'll just put my gloves on and we will get ready to ride. Look at that. Even when you put in first gear, it just goes straight into first gear. No worries about the bike jumping forward. Really good in that line. Not crash hot weather here today, but not bad day for at least go out. Bit of a ride. Any day's a good day for a ride. Okay, so what I was going to say, make it quick on this one. This bike's an absolute joy to ride around town. There's no trouble whatsoever. You know, the seating position's good. You're up nice and high by the feel of it compared to, you know, what some of the bikes you get on, and either they're too low or they're too high, especially some of those trail type bikes. But this one's just easy going on you. I can virtually flat foot it with running shoes on, so it does that job pretty well. Gear change on this bike is super smooth, so you don't even worry about hitting neutrals, missed gears, box pulls or any other sort of neutrals. And overall it's a nice little bike to ride around. So I do find the suspension, I don't know, it just seems a little bit softer than what you'd find on the previous bikes I've had, like C5s and that. Clutch is a little bit on the heavy side, but you know, like it's not really no slipper clutch like what you find on the 650 Interceptor, because that's got a really good clutch. But it's not in that category, but it's positive. You know where your bite is on it, and that's the main thing. Exhaust note on this bike's a beauty, so it's a real ripper to fire around town. I think this pickup on this 350, the new version, the reborn version we could say, as they call it, is really good. Swings around over bumps, that's really easy. So, you know, I think overall it's a pretty good package to ride around town, and you know, I'd rather ride out of town anyway. We're going to swing right out along the road, hit speed, you know, like 80 k's an hour. Looks like it's going to be a little bit windy with the off chance of a bit of rain, but hard to say. Reference to the Cook and Ride series, I'll soon be starting working on one of those. I don't know how long it's going to take to put it together, but I'll get one going. I think there may be a bit of trouble in my case trying to get out there and cook with open fire, so we'll have to give that idea a miss. I think I'm going into fire ban territory, and I'll be using the other cooker one, so I'll have to use the butane or the other gas ones I've got there and hit that for a variety. And then when it gets a little bit cooler, then we'll swing into doing the cooking with the outright fire one. So either way, we'll probably just knock all fire ones together. Either way, there'll still be a good variety. So we'll get this up to a cruise. Really nice bike to ride this. I still think the best Enfield I've been on, in a single anyway. So apart from that, it's good weather in Australia. I would say, I don't know, probably around that 25 degree mark anyway. Now on the other hand, I'll talk about something different. If you're in the market for a microphone to run with your GoPro 10 or maybe some of the other ones, this new Rode Go2 wireless that I'm running now, you would not believe how simple it is to set up, and you can get pretty good audio just connecting up and riding, just what I do. It costs about $400 Australian to buy it, because the one I bought comes with two mics, so that one day when I get out on the cooking one, if the grandson's there, I can hook him up to a mic and we both can talk into it. I'm still used to the cheaper microphones I've had at the moment, where you got a habit of yelling into them, but I haven't tried this at a quieter pace, but I will probably look into that at a later date. But you know, you never know how your audio is going to go, and normally on a day like this with again strong wind and I'm running into a headwind, I think most of them would be history and you wouldn't even bother using it. But I think this setup is an exception and it really performs well. So like I said, we're going to move out along the road. Bike seems to be running nicely. Now you might hear me say things about this is better on this than a C5 or anything like that, and you might say, oh, I appear to be a knock on a C5. It's not the case. You know, they were my favourite bike up until I bought this one in a single, and it's just now the new breed of Enfields is better. So, you know, like, I don't want to get out in the vibrating ones anymore, or the ones I've got to fix all the time, and so far I haven't had to do anything to this bike, and it's really a pleasure to ride a new old bike, new as in brand new, old as in it looks 50-year-old, and I can just get out there and enjoy the ride, and I'm not worried about if anything going wrong what'll happen. So I had, I don't know, almost 10 years riding C5s, and I've been waiting for a bike like this to come along for 10 years. Now I'm on it. It's as good as what I thought I'd ever be, and I never ever thought I'd ever see one in the C5 era. But the fact is, it's here now, and it's a good bike, and in all honesty, I wouldn't go back to a 500, because this does everything better, and I think it rides better, it's got a better seat, starts all the time, first time, every time. One thing I did notice, I did the oil change at 500 kilometres. There was no rubbish in the oil, it was dark, but it just looked like the insides of the oil itself, no metal, rubbish in the barrel, in the oil container, and it just looked like I'd done an oil change on a 650 Interceptor, which I had two of those, and they were the cleanest Enfields I ever did an oil change on. Whereas going back to the early days of C5, anyone that's bought into the earlier models, even up to the later ones, would confirm what I say, that a lot of rubbish comes out of that oil change when you first do it. And I never got around to did just one. I was fairly particular on C5s, and I'd do one at 100 kilometres, one at 300, the main one at 5, then another one at 1,000, just to clean up the motor as could, and in between that I'd drop in new filters too. So like I said, I was pretty fussy. This one here, I've already done an oil change at 500, and the oil, like I said earlier, just come out dark, but apart from that, you know, nice and clean, which is always a big surprise, because you know, you just don't think it's going to come up like that. I think since I bought this one, I've been on it more times than any other Enfield I've ever bought in the 500 classes, because it's just so good to ride. And look at the power, it just takes off. So to get a bike this good, I look at it this way. It took me 15 bikes or a spending of 150,000. That's how much it took me to get this bike. And now that I've got the bike, I really like it, and I may even buy another one. It's just hard to say yet, but I do like the bike. Looks like we're coming into rain too, not good. may have to abandon the run because I can't take the risk of the GoPro getting wet. So guys, I might call this one quits, turn around, pull all my camera gear off, and we'll catch up with you on the next clip, and we'll see what happens there. So in the meantime, if you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. And I've got a corner up here, I'll pull up, take my camera gear off and get it off in case something goes wrong. But I think I'll abandon ship. So we'll just pull up here.